everybody, I'm Ginger Balch from In Sheep's Clothing Yarn Shop, welcoming you to another episode of Focus on Fiber. Today we are going to learn how to crochet a triangular granny square bunting, cute for home decor or party decoration. As you can see today, I have this cute little bunting up here in the front in red, white, and blue theme. I used it for Memorial Day and 4th of July, and I'm going to teach you today how to make your very own. Now, maybe you don't want red, white, and blue, but you could certainly do other colors like this. You could do pastel colors. You could do fun colors if you wanted to do for a party. This looks adorable, like over a baby's crib. So anyway, we're going to get right into this. The only stitches that you need to know for this is chaining and double crochet. So what we're going to do is we'll start our little section here in the center, and I'll just pick the colors that I actually used for this one. So what we're going to do first is we do our slip knot, as always, and then we're going to chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. And actually, I just realized I made a mistake. We're actually chaining 4. I'm getting ahead of myself. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, then we're going to make a little slip knot and join our chain and make a little circle here. Now what I'm going to do is chain 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm using a worsted weight yarn right now and a size H hook, but you could always adjust that for what you would like to use for your yarn. Now after I've done the chain 6, I'm going to do 3 double crochets. So I'm going to wrap around the hook, go into my center loop here, pull up a loop, wrap around, go through 2, and go through 2, and that makes a double crochet. So I'm going to do 2 more. And number 3. And for this first round, after my 3 double crochets, I'm going to chain 3. And then I'm going to do another set of 3 double crochets. There's my 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to do 1, 2, 3 more chains in between. So now I have one section of 3 double crochets, a second section. And now what I'm going to do is this chain that's here, that actually counts as 1 double crochet. So what I'm going to do is work 2 more double crochets into the center, and then 1 more. And then what we want to do is join 1, 2 into our 3rd chain. I'm just going to slip stitch into there, right through my next stitch, and then I'm going to cut this, pull my yarn through and fasten off. And now you can see that what this does is it creates 3 sets of double crochets and 3 holes, and there's our little center right there. So now from here we're going to take our next color of choice, which will just match this one here. And you can go into any third chain, any of the chain 3s that you want, but I'm just going to match up with what I have here. So I put my hook in, I'm going to pull up a loop, and I'm going to once again chain 6. Now I just kind of connect it, but if you wanted to do, tie a little knot there to hold it, you can. So there's chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we're going to repeat what we did before, where we're going to do 3 more double crochets in the very same hole that we have here. So we'll do 3. And also what I like to do as I'm doing this is to cover up, actually let me take this one out. This end here, well actually this end's too far away. I like to kind of cover up my ends as I go. It just helps in the finishing process. So I'm doing my double crochet kind of over that tail there. So there's 1, 2, and 3. So this is our second round. Now this time what I'm going to do is just chain 1. And now I'm going to go into the next chain 3 opening with a set of 3 double crochets. So there's 1, there's 2. I'm going to try to keep this slow. It's really hard with crochet. It's really easy to get very quick with it. And there's 3. So there's our first set of 3s. Now in between that, because I'm going to have 2 sets, the way I have a corner here, we're creating a corner. So we'll do 3 chains. 1, 2, 3. And then I'm going to do 3 more double crochets in that same space. And you can see how I have a corner here. So now I'm going to chain 1, and I'm going into the next corner. And again, I'll do 1 set of chain 3s first. There's the 1 set of 3 double crochets. I'm not sure what I said. Okay, so there's the 3 double crochets, and then chain 3 for our corner. We have to have that to make the nice turn, otherwise it's going to bunch up. And then another chain 3. 2 and 3. And we're almost done with this round. So now we have 1 corner, and we almost have not quite a whole corner here. So again, there's our chain 6, which acts as a double crochet. So we're only going to do 2 more double crochets in that next corner, or our final corner. So there's 3. Okay. And again, we're going to go 1, 2, 3 into our 3rd chain and do a slip stitch and fasten it off. Now pull that through, and there you go. So now there's our second round. Okay, so we can see how it's matching up to this. Now we'll start with our 3rd color. You're kind of getting the idea here, but the 3rd round is going to change just a little bit more. Let's see, we're using the green this time. Okay, so again, chain 6. Okay, and I think you know where I'm going with this one. We'll do another set of 3 double crochets. 2 and 3. Okay, and again we'll chain 1. Now this time we're not going right into the corner, because as we keep going, we keep increasing another 3 double crochet section. So we have this extra space here before we get to the corner. So what we want to do is, after the chain 1, we'll do 1 more set of 3 double crochets in this set, in that space right there. So 1, 2, 3. Okay. Let's see how it's getting bigger. And now we're going to chain 1. And now there's our corner. So you guessed it, we're going to do another set of 3s, another chain 3, and then another set of 3s to create our corner. So we'll do that. So from here on in, all we're going to be doing is the same thing, but creating an additional set of 3 double crochets in between our corners. So there's our chain, 3 double crochets, chain 3, another 3 double crochets. And in case you're getting worried about you're never going to remember this, you can find the pattern for this on my website, and we'll have my website at the end of the segment. Okay, so there's our next corner. Chain 1, go into our additional space here with 3 double crochets. After you get past these first few rounds, you can really do this in your sleep. Chain 1, and there's our next corner. So you've got it. We're going to do chain 3 double crochets, and then chain 3, and then 3 double crochets, I'm splitting my yarn here. There we go. Chain 1. Have one more space here before we get to our final corner. Okay. Chain 1, and then 2 more double crochets in our final corner here before we fasten off. 1, 2, okay. And then go up into our third chain again. Pull up a loop and fasten off. Now you can just keep on going and going and going with this to make them as big as you want. With this one here, I added additional color. Another thing that you can do too is if you don't want to do color changes, you can do something like a multicolor yarn and just keep, do your round, but you don't have to fasten off. What you could do instead is, I wish I had thought about that before I did this, because what you would do then, instead of you would slip stitch and then not cut it. But then what you would have to do is just slip stitch over to your hole here, just a couple stitches, then do your chain 6 in the same color that you're working with, and then just continue in the round. You just would not be cutting your yarn for each color change because you won't have color change. Okay, so then there's that. Now what you can do afterwards as you go, as you can see, we have tons of ends here. So then what you would want to do is just take your needle and just finish off. You want to hide your threads. You never want to knot them and cut them or just cut them because they're going to unravel. But I just kind of go through my stitches like this, one way, and then I kind of like to split my stitch and then go back through the other direction. This way, when you actually pull on it, it actually tightens it up rather than just going through the loops and then they pop out as soon as you add some pressure to them. So you can just cut them off like that and just finish up your piece. This one here, I did a few more rounds on that one. And like I said, I just hung those up for the holidays and it just added a little festivity. Do that. And then what I thought was really cute to finish it off, what I'm actually going to do so that I can show you how I want to finish off the top of this and put them together at the same time, is I will do one more round. Maybe I won't because I don't want to bore you going through all that. So we'll just have one piece here that's a little smaller than the other. But what I think really adds to this is to make the little tassel at the end. So what I like to do is, here's a tassel that I had already made, but you just figure out how long you want your tassel to be and get a piece of cardboard that's about that same size. And then what I do is I'll take my yarn, and we'll just do it in pink this time. And so if you have a whole bunch of tassels, you want to make sure that they're all the same size. What I do is I'm going to wrap it around my cardboard like this, leaving a tail, and count. This way they'll all be the same size. So I kind of find 20 is good. So I'll 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 20. Okay, and then I end at the same end like I did before. I'm going to cut it. And then I'm going to cut another piece of yarn, making sure that it's long enough here to give me enough to work with. And then I put it through here on the opposite end. And I'm going to tie it nice and tight, like that. And then I'm going to knot it. So you don't want the fringe to come apart on us. Okay. So that's that one end. And then cut this end here. So there's your tassel just about finished. And then you want to cut another piece and make sure that it's long, almost long enough, as long as the fringe is, the tassel is. And then what we do is we put that down there like this. You can figure out how high up you want it. And then we tie it. And again, you want it nice and snug. And we'll do another double knot. And there's your tassel. Now what I like to do, because sometimes that little knot kind of creates a little bump there, I'll take the ends of the tassel and I will put it through the needle. And I will go underneath that wrap that I did. Kind of go through the tassel and underneath, and then pull it down through. I do it with that side, and then I take the other one, and I do the same thing. This way it's incorporated with the rest of the fringe, and it's not sticking out and looking funny. So I'm going to do that one as well. There we go. So that one's in. So there's our tassel. And then what you can just do after that is just trim it up. So it's all the same length. And then you can just make a whole bunch of them. And then you would sew them onto the corner of your triangle. The scissors aren't very sharp. Okay, so there we go. So like that. And then I would just attach it. And again, this is something that I do, that I kind of think ahead a little bit. So when I finished off the last round of this, I made sure that I left a long enough tail when I cut it so that I can incorporate that into this tassel and I don't have to weave it in. I like to try to make as many shortcuts as I possibly can. So what I'm going to do is, this will be my corner for my tassel. And I take one end of the yarn and pull it through. Keep this separated. And then the other one, I go through a little different hole and pull that one through. There we go. And then I can tie this on. Actually knot it. There we go. And I'll knot it again. And then what I do, that little trick again, taking my little tail and just pulling it down through the tassel. This way you don't have to weave it, and it's hidden. It's in the middle there, so if it's a little shorter, it's okay. There we go. And then I can do the same thing with these. These can also go down through. I'm going to do them separately because I don't want to make them too thick going through, and then maybe they distort the tassel. And I kind of do it through the back end, the back side of the tassel. just so that's just not in the front and you don't, if there's anything to see, you're not seeing it. And that one goes down through as well. There we go. And then you can just even them all off. Like that. And then you have your cute little triangle. And then what I would do after this is I would make all my triangles, put all my my tassels on. And then to connect them, you could take your tails here and tie it in. And actually this is a good way to weave it in. So I'm just going to take that, go through the hole there, connect it, just kind of stitch it in there, just kind of back and forth a little bit. And then I can weave it in all at the same time. Get rid of that. And then to connect these, now this one here I kind of did very simply. I just connected them at the corners. But I have a really nice bunting that I made for my shop, and I have it over the doorway, and I did it with multicolored yarns, and each one is different, and the tassels are all different, so it's really fun looking. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to make it really finished looking, so I put an edging along the edge here. So what I did was simply do a single crochet. So I'd pick up whatever yarn I wanted to do, and you can do however many rows you want. So I just pick this up, and then I would just work into each chain across. Just single crochet across the top of my first one. And you can kind of eyeball it. If you feel like you don't need to go in every single one, you don't have to. You'll kind of find what works best. I like to do one in the space, and then one in each one going across my 3 double crochets. So that would be 3, and then the 4th one going into the space. And you can kind of lay it out and see what it looks like. That looks pretty good. And then you're just going to go all the way across each of your triangles. And then it kind of connects them all together too, and just gives it a really more finished look. And you can do as many rows of it as you want. I know with the one in my shop, I probably did 3 or 4 rows of it. And then what you can do when you get to the very end, you can either do a long chain across here, and then you can use that to attach it to whatever. I had a couple nails, one on either side, and I tied it onto the nail to hold it there. Almost there. Okay, so there we go. It does look a little more finished than just knotting it in each corner. And then if you want to, when you get to the end, and actually what you could even do to make it a little heavier to hold on to is grab a few strands and then just do a chain. Oops. Of course, you might need a little bit bigger crochet hook in order to do that. But that gives you the idea. Whoops. So there we go. So let's get these over here. So there's our little triangles. There's our chain that we can attach it to wherever we want to attach it to. And then you're all set. So I just want to thank you once again for spending your time with me today. And I just wanted to let you know that, you can maybe find some great use for your own specially designed granny bunting. And until the next time, don't forget, there's always important to have a focus on fiber. Thanks.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.